Our keynote speaker today is a young man who's doing amazing things. He's not just a consumer of technology, but he's an innovator of technology. He helps South African organizations with their tech rotation strategies. He's also the managing director of Accenture Technology Strategy South Africa, and he will be speaking today in his keynote address on megatrends predictions for 2025. Hey? You gotta be there. Please, help me welcome on stage, Hans Zacher.
Good morning. So I was really grateful for the introduction as a young man, because when Laura kind of phoned me and asked me to do this, she talked about 3 generations, and basically what she said is you're the experience, right? So you're the old guy. So I'm glad I kind of got introduced to something other than that, so I appreciate that. So just in terms of who I am, so who knows who Accenture is? Anyone heard of Accenture? About half the room, right? So you may be surprised to know that Accenture is a global company. We've got just short of 400,000 people globally, operating in pretty much every safe country in the world. And essentially what we do is we're a technology company at heart, but we kind of do consulting, digital consulting on top of that, right? Because a lot of organizations need to know how to leverage technology, right? So the market is changing, things are looking a bit tougher in some industries, better in others, and these companies are really looking for help to what they call rotate to this new digital world. So I have a very cool job. What I do is I work with organizations to understand how they can leverage technology, right? And what technologies they can leverage, right? So it's the big organizations, the big banks, the big mining houses, the retailers, who are all looking to figure out, this new wave of technology is really doing cool stuff, but what do I do about it, right? How should I respond to it? So if you kind of look at the global context, right? So there's a couple of things happening. The first one is around the demographics are changing, right? So who thinks the world's in a good place? It really is, right? No hands. Okay, so you're all pessimists. Okay. By the end of this discussion, I hope to change that. So poverty levels across the globe are at an all-time low, right? Okay. So access to basic, water, food, all-time high, right? The average age, so your life expectation, right? For every year, okay, that progresses, your lifespan increases 15 minutes, right? So, in this room, depending on your age, a lot of us will probably live to 100, okay? Our children will probably live to 120. So this is the kind of world that we're living in, right? So people generally have, a higher standard of living on average, but the funny thing is that they're spending less money, right? And there's this kind of expectation thing happening, right? We call it the switching economy, right? So who switched their cell phone contract in the last year? Okay? So today's youth will switch their contract for 15 extra megs of data, right? I'll change. I'll do it. Okay? I'll move it across. Okay? Gone are the days of brand loyalty, okay, where you stick with a brand. Gone are the days where you stick with a job. People just switch and they change, right? If you're talking about social and cultural changes, right, most people don't expect to be in their job for longer than 2 years these days, right? A lot of people don't even expect to have a job at all, right? I'm just going to show up, do some work, and then I'm going to leave, right? Now, but what is driving all this is technology, right? And the rapid pace of technology advancement. So you've all heard about the 4th Industrial Revolution. Would anyone venture an explanation for what the 4th Industrial Revolution is? Raise your hands. All right. Okay, I'll tell you. Okay. So there was the first Industrial Revolution, which was where we used electricity. So we stopped using horses and human power, and we started using, steam to do things. Then we had the electric motor introduced after steam, and then finally we had electronics. Now, the 4th Industrial Revolution is where we're starting to use digital technologies to do things in a very different way. And the standard thing is, I think it was mentioned earlier, is that pretty much half the jobs that exist today won't exist in 5 years, and about 60% of jobs that are going to exist in 10 years don't exist today, right? Now, the interesting thing about with each revolution, so you can be up there, right, and you can be worrying about the robots taking your job. Anyone worried about that? Okay, we got one person. One person's honest. Here's the facts. With every industrial revolution, more jobs were added than would take it away. Right? So every time we kind of evolved, there were more jobs, but just different jobs. Now, in the recent World Economic Forum, we had a lot of people in Davos, and a lot of our South African people went to Davos to kind of listen to what was going on. And they came back and they went on the radio and they said a few things and, made their comments. And the general tone of our leaders was the fourth industrial revolution is a danger to us. It's going to take our jobs. We're resources dependent, very negative, right? And I think the fourth industrial revolution is about looking for the opportunity, right? Because there's going to be more jobs than before, but who in this room is going to invent that future? So if you look at technology, right, and why is the fourth industrial revolution happening? The kind of picture on the screen is probably one that you've seen before, but we've had technology advancements before, right? So we had the mainframes, we had PCs, we had the mobiles coming in. But what is different between then and now is that right now we've got a bunch of technology advancements that are happening, all in parallel, right? So it's the combination of these things which is incredibly powerful. So if you look at what's happening today, so we've got big data emerging, we've got IoT and smart machines, we've got artificial intelligence and quantum computing coming in, when each one of those trends is probably going to have an exponentially larger impact than any trend before, but then they're all combining together at once. Okay? Now, what does that present? It presents an opportunity for smart people to look at these technologies and say, what if? What if I can leverage these things to change the way healthcare works? What if I could leverage these things to change the way manufacturing works, the way transport works, okay, the way entertainment works? If you start thinking that way, you're starting to invent the future. Okay? If you're thinking, I'm going to lose my job, actually I'm not going to have a job, my job's not going to exist, you're in the wrong mindset. Let's have a little quick discussion, right? So who knows of Tesla? I'm sure everyone knows of Tesla. Who knows Ford? Your father's car. Right? So recently, Tesla, have a look at the graph, was worth more than Ford. Okay? Tesla makes, anyone has a guess? 70-odd thousand cars a year. Ford makes almost 7 million. So for every one car Tesla's rolling off the production line, okay, Ford is rolling off 10. Sorry, 100 cars, right? Anyone want to answer, why on earth is Tesla worth more than Ford? Anyone? No, you can really talk, you can shout, Because of innovation, sure. Any other reasons? Because of the future possibilities, sure. Yeah, to a certain extent, kind of. I don't know, that's why I'm kind of hesitant. I don't know the answer. Fossil fuel, not using fossil fuel. The actual answer, if you listen to the analyst reports, okay, is that every Tesla car that's manufactured today is equipped with autonomous technology, right? But that's not the important thing, is as of today, every Tesla driving on the road is collecting data, okay, to inform autonomous driving, right? So they currently have, I think, about 60 billion miles worth of data sitting on their server, right, of the various sensors. So if the future is around autonomous vehicles, okay, and safe autonomous vehicles, who do you think has the best source of data to plug into the machines to do extensive online testing, okay, and proving that the vehicle is safe. It's this company. The cars themselves, whatever, right? Anyone can manufacture an electric car. In fact, Ford is doing it. GM is doing it. Every manufacturer is manufacturing electric cars. But the difference isn't the ability to manufacture the cars, it's the data to inform the future evolution. You guys get that? So if we look at, all right, so you're a young person, you're kind of thinking, well, where is the world going to take me? What should I be focusing on? What are the trends that I need to think about and align my career to make sure that I'm on the cutting edge of these evolutions? Okay? And I've got 5 for you today, and we're going to go through each one. So just listening at the bottom. AI is the new UI, ecosystems as macrocosms, workforce marketplace, design for humans, and the uncharted, right? Probably none of these mean anything to you, right? Okay, but I'll hopefully kind of give you a sense of what each one is by the time we're done. So the first one, AI is the new UI. Anyone know what that thing in the corner is? Nobody? Does anyone own one of those? Okay, really? Gosh. Okay, now I don't feel so old at all. Okay, so I have one of those. That's called an Amazon Echo, right? So what it is, it's a hockey puck-sized little thing that sits next to my bed, in my case, okay? And essentially, it's a personal assistant, voice-operated. There's no screen, right? And, I ask it to, there's a little sort of assistant in it called Alexa, right? So the Amazon Alexa, ringing any bells? Some of you might know Siri or Cortana or Amelia. Okay, there's lots of these, they're always ladies, I don't know why. So Amazon Alexa does some pretty cool stuff. Alexa, can you set my alarm for 6 a.m.? Alexa, what's the weather like? Alexa, what's the weather like this afternoon? Alexa, can you order me some milk? Okay. Alexa, who was George Orwell? Alexa, buy me the book. Alexa, send it to my Kindle. Alexa, play me some music, right? These are all the things Alexa can do, right? Now, the difference is, when we talk about AI versus UI, in the recent past, if you look at even the e-commerce and the dot-com bubble and even the mobile space, if you were a business looking to get exponential reach in an organization, is what you would do is you would create a really sexy interface, right? I want the Apple experience. iOS is cool. Android is clunky. That's my view, right? Okay, so the UI, the user interface, became the differentiating kind of feature of any digital interaction. The best looking screen, the best looking graphics, flat icons, all those kind of cool things. The problem is that everyone has a cool UI now, right? And the difference that's now starting to happen is what is the artificial intelligence sitting behind the UI, okay? And how is it making decisions? Now, the best way to kind of describe this is through a couple of examples. Anyone has a car with insurance? Okay, let's do a quick poll. Anyone with insurance? Sanlam? Mutual and Federal? Okay, you put up your hand twice, didn't you? Okay, anyone have insurance with Lemonade? Tractable. Ever heard of those companies? Right. Now, Lemonade is pretty cool, right? Lemonade is an insurance company where basically what you do is to get insured, you take out your phone and you say, hi, I'd like to insure my laptop. Okay, it's this. Have a look. Okay. Oh, that's my premium. Sure, I'm good to go. Okay, that's all it does. Okay. When you claim from Lemonade, it's just as easy, right? So, Lemonade, I drove into someone. It was expensive. I wasn't drinking. And what Lemonade does is then the AI intelligence goes into the background and it uses voice recognition and says, well, Hans said this and he said that and, fills out the field and says, all right, it's a claim. But the cool bit is Then it runs 17 anti-fraud algorithms, looking for stress patterns in your voice, looking for contextual information of where you sit, all those good things. And Lemonade recently posted the world record claims payout where the money was in the person's account 3 seconds after they said yes. 3 seconds. Now that's the power of artificial intelligence that we're talking about, right? Now the prediction is, notice there was a screen, but I didn't need one. The prediction is that in 7 years' time, 80% of interfaces will not be visual at all. They will completely be voice-orientated or something else. And the artificial intelligence will completely make all those kind of processes seamless on the back end. Can you guys start seeing the opportunities and the power in something like that? That's pretty cool, right? I want to invent something like that. So, moving on to the second trend, ecosystems as macrocosms. Now, a couple of years ago, Accenture was kind of predicting that platforms was the next big thing, right? So, anyone understand the concept of a platform? Kind of, maybe not. Some good examples. Facebook's a platform, okay? Don't produce any content. Uber's a platform, don't own any cars. Airbnb's a platform, don't own any hotels, okay? WhatsApp is a messaging platform. Now, the interesting thing, WhatsApp, I've got to tell you a story, right? WhatsApp was sold for $22 billion a couple of years ago. $22 billion, okay? They had 49 people. 49 people, $22 billion. Now, I don't know if anyone can relate, but $22 billion is a little above my pay grade, right? I think for most of us, okay? But let me tell you how big $22 billion are. You could run the London Olympics 10 times over with $22 billion, okay? It's larger than the entire global coffee industry on an annual basis. Okay? With $22 billion, you could buy the island of Jamaica. True story. Now, if you look at platform businesses, they're starting to become the most profitable companies in the world. But now I've mentioned the ones that you all know about, but the platform businesses are starting to emerge. So the likes of Philips for healthcare, right? So Philips was making medical devices. Cheap Chinese imports came out. They now make medical platforms. Okay? Guys like John Deere. Anyone have a John Deere tractor toy or a real one? So John Deere made farming equipment. They now create farming platforms. And these kind of industries that are creating platform businesses, where the whole concept is, I can do better as we rather than me. So if I partner with all my customers, if I partner with all my suppliers, even my competitors, I can get a greater reach and a greater impact on the market by owning that particular platform. Right? So the future is going to be in the platform space. Now the real question for the entrepreneur amongst us is, do I use the platform? Do I leverage it? Or do I own it? If two guys in a garage could create a global platform, why can't I? But if I'm looking to start a business, how do I use those platforms to do it, right? So if you look at digital marketing, right? So traditional marketers are kind of struggling, right? Because all the marketing's happening on digital channels, okay? Facebook and Twitter and the likes of those kind of things. And that's the emergence that we're starting to see, where the entire economy is shifting to this kind of orientation. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, the third trend to talk about is the workforce marketplace, right? So what is that? So if you look at the standard organization today, right? Accenture, Oslo, Sasol, the kind of hierarchy from top to bottom is an average of 16 levels, right? So there's 16 layers of reporting bosses, boss, all the way to the top, right? And that's been an organizational structure born out of 100 years of corporate culture and all those good things, reliant on people showing up in meetings and doing all those good things. But now take a guess what the average levels in a digital organization looks like. 2, I got 2, 5, somewhere between the two. It's between 3 and 4. Okay, so in a large organization, and large by revenue, okay, you can find that the top to the bottom is 4 people, 4 levels, right? Very flat structures, okay? Very sort of non-hierarchical, decentralized decision making. And the reason that is happening is because of this concept of a liquid workforce. I don't have to hire people anymore. I can get those services in a liquid, dynamic fashion, right? So if you look at some really cool companies that are doing this, so anyone know about WordPress? Okay, WordPress. I guess every one of you has used WordPress today, right? Because WordPress handles and manages 50% of the world's websites. Okay, so 50% of the world's website go through a WordPress structure. So any idea how big WordPress is in terms of people? It's under 100. Under 100 people manage half the world's web traffic. Okay. Now the reason that they're able to do that, okay, in 49 languages, no less, right, is that they have a completely liquid workforce model. Okay. So they have their sort of 49 people basically creating teams and squads and tribes and all these other things to kind of do various projects. Okay. That's what we talk about a liquid workforce. Accenture, for example, the one thing we're experimenting with is zero-based contracts, right? So, you know, and don't all come flood me, because my answer is going to be no. You can get a contract with Accenture in selected markets, okay, where you commit to spending 0 hours with the company, right? But for every hour you work, okay, you get paid. That sounds like contracting. Now, the problem with just contracting models is millennials, young people, I'm going to put myself in that category, don't worry so much about death and retirement and saving and all the rest of it. So it's a bit socially irresponsible to hire a bunch of contractors in these kind of models where none of those things are in place, where there's no learning, where there's no training, where there's no leave, where there's no sick leave. So a zero-based contract basically says for every hour that you work, you get a credit to pension, to training, to those kind of things. And the more you work for us, the bigger your credits become and the more you kind of benefit from it. Okay? So there's lots of organizations that are starting to explore this. I mean, you can go into the internet. I recently did it for my house plans. Okay? Found an architect in the cloud and I said, do this for me. I paid him his money, never spoke to the guy, and my house is approved, just so you know. Right? The council said yes. Okay? I haven't gone back and finished the process, but that's besides the point. That's my laziness. Okay? But I'm going to get some service, you know, some kind of online service to run and courier it for me. So the point is that the kind of jobs and the hierarchy structures are changing, right? And it's this changing workforce, okay, and the changing way of work that is going to make a huge impact going forward, right? The fourth trend is design for humans, right? Now, we've kind of been doing this in Accenture, we've kind of been doing this, this sort of trend spotting for quite some time, right? And, you know, for a long time we were talking about every business is a digital business, right? So if you're not being digital, you're going to be disrupted and you're going to no longer exist. Statements like, you know, half of the world's Fortune 500, you know, will not exist in the next 5 years, which is a true story if you looked at the predictor of the past. So we kind of put it down to, you know, 2 guys in a garage are going to come and eat your lunch and disrupt you, right? And then we kind of looked at it and said, well, actually, it's the big guys, because if 2 guys in a garage can do it, surely a large company with 50, 60,000 people and a lot of cash can kind of sort them out, right? Okay, so it's actually the big guys who are going to be the big disruptors. Then we kind of looked at the platform and said, actually, it's a we type environment, so all these technologies are going to kind of combine. And then we started to figure out, but a lot of these platform companies and a lot of these organizations that are starting actually aren't being successful. For every 1 unicorn, billion-dollar US company, there's 100 that fail. Okay? And why are they failing? Why is it not taking off? Surely if digital is the answer, you know, I mean, Everyone should succeed. And the reason is the technologies weren't adapting to the people, right? They all kind of forced people to adapt to the technology, and the user experience, the user interface wasn't great, right? So I myself am guilty of this because I've run a few large technology projects in my time. And I mean, you spoke about SAP, right? So when you do an SAP implementation 5-10 years ago, right, is you would take the SAP system, you would put it in, and then you would like force a whole bunch of people through training and change management to adapt to the system, right? Spend a lot of money, okay? And a lot of ERP or SAP or sort of big implementations failed because the user said, well, it's not what I do on a daily basis. You want me to click here, but I need to talk to the guy over there. It just doesn't work. And today's technology starts adapting to people, not the other way around, right? So I'll give you some good examples. There's a company called Betterment. You can go Google them. So Betterment is an investment platform, right? So for those of you who are budding share traders, you're sitting on a platform, you kind of want to play the stock market, get rich quick. Berkshire Hathaway, watch out, I'm coming after you. Betterment's a good one for you, right? Because what Betterment is it's an investment platform that kind of informs your decisions, right? So it basically shows you a dashboard of your investments. But if you're kind of a nervous character, let's say, right? And you're kind of twitchy, you see the red arrow and you're like, oh, sell, it shows you less. Okay, it waits a bit to tell you something, right? Okay, but if you're a more solid investor and you make good decisions, it tells you more, right? And the technology adjusts, they say, to narrow the investment loss gap. What does that mean, right? So people on Betterment, people who consider themselves share traders, lose less money than people who aren't, right? Because it's a technology that's recognizing that the people are the weak link in a lot of things, and it adapts to them rather than the other way around. Okay. The final trend is probably the most interesting one to me, where if you look at all these things I'm talking about, right, and inventing the future, the new stuff, right? Now, if any of you have kind of worked with authorities, regulators, I don't know if anyone has, right? Where you kind of go into an industry, and in South Africa it's a particular problem. There's a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy to do stuff, right? So I make it my business to explore as many digital technologies as I can, right? So if I can order clothes online, I do it, okay? If I can take an Uber, I do it, right? If I can order a pizza, I do it. Anyone tried a certain pizza delivery company with a D lately? Horrible, 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 but I tried it anyway. Anyone tried something like Kaching? Anyone knows what Kaching is? Kaching is this cool parking app, right, where you drive up, it recognizes your license plate and just opens the boom. And as you go out, it just takes the money off your credit card. Very cool. No ticket, no running around for cash, no begging the waiter, hey, can you give me $10, right? The problem with Kaching, of course, is that I've been stuck at the boom many times, right? I bought a BMW. Now, when a BMW is stuck at the boom and taking their time, okay, you get hooted at exponentially more than any other car manufacturer. So Kaching is kind of sitting there and it won't let me through, and then beep, 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 but I try these things, right? I even tried an Uber, right? I owned an Uber. I bought one, right? Just to kind of test it out. And what I found is that the regulations and the controls around most of these businesses in the public sector and the regulatory environment are silent. Okay. When I went to go get my Uber license, I sat at the Department of Transport in Pretoria on a bench with all the sort of taxi owners next to me. Right? I sat there for an hour. Okay. Eventually, the woman called me aside and she said, "Listen, I'll just sort you out because all these guys over here, they don't want you to get a license, and frankly, I don't know which license to give you." This was the early days of Uber. Right? So the regulation is completely silent. Now, the point around the uncharted is, if you're going to wait and sit back and wait for the regulations to come, you're going to be too late to the game, okay? The big companies are all going out there and they're setting the regulations. They're not being held back by it, they're informing it, okay? And if you're looking to do something disruptive, okay, whether you join a corporate, because most of them want to do it, or whether you want to do it on your own, you should not let regulation stop you when it's silent, right? You need to be part of the solution. If you look at the likes of Google, Facebook, Alphabet, all those guys, they're informing the stuff. They're not waiting for anyone. They're going out and they're making it happen, because the red tape can kill you, okay, and can stop you from doing things. So that's kind of the brief mega trends. It's we can talk about this all day, but I hope it's kind of given you a snapshot of where the world is going. So my advice to you is, as you are rising stars, rise in this direction. Okay, this is where the world is going. This is going to happen. In fact, when I do this talk, I start this kind of presentation at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, it's all happened already. They're not trends anymore. It's reality. Okay. Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.